All right, Dwayne, we're back. The band is officially back together after the Christmas break.
Back together, mildly rested and somehow not canceled. A new year, new miracle.
Well, just wanted to let you know I made it all the way to Quebec. It was wonderful. Had a tortillere on Christmas Eve. Fans, our neighbor, brought over some tortillere and had a really nice break. How about you?
I made it all the way to Tabor, which somehow felt further, but, got to go visit, pay my respects to the arena down there that had a little bit of an incident, but we shall rebuild.
It's great idea.
Tabor strong.
Wish them all the best with the rebuild.
Heard you actually went and did some skiing.
Yeah, I was venturing out to Mont Tremblant, and had to get some rentals. The old skis are just not what they used to. Apparently, they don't use wooden skis anymore. So
you probably had to use some of that equalization payments to pay for those skis.
Man, we're flush. So the money I saved on gas, I was able to put it towards those rentals. So you know what? We both had different destinations, but it was pretty much the same results. Probably, too much food, not enough sleep. But I had good naps, so anyways.
Yeah, no, and during my visit down Tabor there, had at least 3 relatives ask, so how's that podcast thingy going?
Well, at least they know that you're doing it. I think there's a language barrier because we're not doing this in both official languages, but episode 13 here kicks off the new year, the final stretch of the regular season. We got a pretty good show today.
Yeah, you betcha. We're going to sit down with head coach of the St. Paul Canadiens, Josh Smyl.
And then we're going to catch up with Josh Dudding, head coach of the Lloyd Bandits, to get his perspective on what he's been doing as the players head towards the final stretch to playoffs.
Yes, and then in one of our newer segments, Player of the Week, we're going to talk about Adrian Bruguera.
Yeah.
Bugsy.
Looking forward to talking about him. We're also going to have a pretty quick abbreviated around the league. It's kind of been quiet since the holidays, so we're going to only have a few games to talk about.
Yeah, you betcha, and always a little bit of Junior B banter mixed in there to help it flow.
Yeah, we're going to need some of that to hopefully shake off the rust from the holidays.
Yeah, and from here on out, every game's going to matter.
Yeah, it's going to be an important stretch. The last few games. Episode 13 starts right now, so let's drop the puck.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Cold Lake Energy Center. Chet with Cheddar behind the scenes with Dwayne on Sammer, myself, and we've caught up with Coach Smyl from the St. Paul Canadiens. They're in town tonight for a game against Cold Lake Ice. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So just, we talked earlier in the season there. We talked, about the team and how they're going and stuff. So we just wanted to catch up with you and kind of talk and say, how's the team going? We were watching the standings. They're, I think, in 5th place right now, only a couple points behind the ice. So how's it been going for the first 20 or so?
For us has been, the word I'll use is an adjustment. For me personally, coming in and coaching at the Junior B level and having a whole new group of players. And then in that mix of players, I think we only returned around 9 guys. So we have had a number of new guys come in. So there's a whole learning curve of expectations and coaching and systems and what the players in the past have done. So we've had some huge adjustments and still continue to go through it.
No, for sure. Like I said, it's talking with a lot of the coaches around the league and stuff like that. They're preaching that consistency, and we've seen it in it's almost every team in the league doesn't put on that 60 minutes yet. How about you guys?
Yeah, we're in that boat. We'll play a good 5-minute stretch in a period and then struggle, or have one real good period and then struggle for the other two, and consistency would be a problem. And I kind of attribute that though to the adjustment being, we learning to react in certain situations, and you get kind of pressured, and me as a coach, they're learning to see how I respond. I'm learning to see who does what in certain situations. So and that may lead to that inconsistency.
No, looking at that, talking about only having probably 9 solid returning players or so, is there some of those veterans that are stepping up and trying to help you with that process?
Yeah, absolutely. And the deeper we go, the more I and my coaching staff is all new. We all new together, are learning to work with whomever and who is good in certain situations, and putting a little bit more heat on our leaders to take the dressing room and take control and run it the way we all want it to have me to run.
No, for sure. Looking at we're not biased or anything, but we're based out of Cold Lake here. When we fly back in from our homes in Tabor and Quebec here, we've seen it in that not the dressing room, but on the ice tube. Like, they're out there, they're challenging, they're playing. It's not like they're going out and getting ran over. There's compete there, but it's just not there for the full thing. Do you have that kind of same feeling with the team right now?
Yeah, I can relate exactly what you're talking about, the Cold Lake thing. We expect our team to be better, to make some progression. And at this point, I don't think we've made a lot of progression. We're kind of at a stalemate where we're not making another step forward where we play well for 2 or 3 games. We're still in that mode of playing well maybe one game or one period of a game and so on and so forth. So the progression has not been to where I know my management thinks we should be.
For sure. And talking about management and stuff like that, we know coming up here shortly, they call it a trade deadline. Not much trading. It's more of bringing in players that you can. Do you think, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but do you think there's anything going to be added, going down the last stretch to 12 games before playoffs?
I would think so in our boat. Exactly what we do or how we do it, I don't know. Our manager, Dean, my brother Dean Smyl there, who's done at this level for a number of years, talking with him, we want to progress. We want to get better. And, St. Paul's been one of the better teams the last few years in the top 3 or 4 anyways. We need to progress. We need to get better. And I think with the way things have transpired for us the last 3 weeks with health and some injuries and short benches, we need to add so that we can strengthen and have a little bit more depth.
So talking about, looking what we're going to do down the stretch, you got some strong leaders with Fontaine coming in there. You also got Quinn Spock. What can you say about his performance in the last bit? It's like almost like he's taking the reins and trying to help this team get to where they need to.
Absolutely. Quinn's a real important piece to our puzzle. I will say, though, kind of beating a dead horse here is the adjustment. He being played in the league a couple of years ago, put up huge numbers, went away, played junior A last year, come back into the environment, new coach, once again, all new teammates, was his adjustment. Then he got injured for a little bit and is just kind of coming back from that injury and he's starting to play better and better. So he's a real important piece. Although you'll see that he'll probably play defense a little bit for us and takes away from our offense at the beginning, but he's an important piece and not just on the ice scoring goals or contributing offensively. As we talked about, a leader, he's got some great leadership qualities.
No, for sure. Appreciate your time, Coach. And now we're going to move on to our interview with head coach Josh Dudding of the Lloydminster Bandits. Talking about how his team is faring so far. Looking at the standings as of now, and they're top by 2 points.
Yeah, things are getting tight at the top there with those top 3 teams. Josh and I chatted about leadership, staying locked in, and what it takes to get that last push into the postseason.
Yeah, talking about how habits and building that whole team aspect are going to help them get to where they want to be this year.
Yeah, let's get into our interview with head coach Josh Dudding.
All right,
Chet here, full of poutine. I'm just ready to rock here, and just joined Coach Josh of Bandits after the first period with the Cold Lake Ice. Great period so far. Talk to me about, we haven't talked in a while since we came down to your neck of the woods, your beautiful barn. Talk to me about how the season's going so far for you, Coach.
It's been a little bit up and down. We've had some really good weekends, learned some tough lessons on a few nights, but overall, I think we're pretty happy with where we are going into the Christmas break. The biggest thing for us is we're still trying to develop that consistency, night in and night out, playing the same way. We seem to kind of pick and choose the 10 minutes that we want to play hard hockey. So for us, it's developing that consistency, learning to be that physical team, and just find a way to bring it every night.
Now, upcoming is the so-called trade deadline and things. With maybe teams will be looking at maybe making some moves, some call-ups. Is there anything that you're going to be looking for maybe in the next few weeks before that deadline comes?
I don't think anything specifically off the top of our head, but there's a conversation that every coach has with every team come the deadline. If something happens and there's an opportunity to make your team better at the end of the day, I think if you decide to not do it, you're doing a disservice. So I guess we got a month to kind of see what all shakes out and if there's any opportunities. But if we don't make a move, we're more than happy with the 20 guys, 25 guys that we got sitting on our roster right now.
Okay, well, we're going to end with a little bit of fun here, as we always do. Turkey or ham at Christmas dinner? What's your go-to?
Ooh, I'm lucky. So on one side of my family, it's actually both, and then on the wife's family, we get a nice helping of goose, which is a big change up for us. But I'm not gonna lie, it took me a little bit to get used to, but it's something I look forward to now.
Okay, afternoon nap or ODR going outside on the ODR with the kids.
Definitely, now that the kids are getting a little older and loving to skate, I think we'll be out there. But there's some days after having some long days here, some long days of work, that I don't turn down a midday nap too often either.
Okay, well, Coach, we wish you all the best with the rest of the season. We're going to get down to your neck of the woods, and obviously going into playoffs. Wish you all the best, and glad to see you again, and hope you enjoy your Christmas break.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much for having us.
Well, here it is. The newest segment that we're going with is Player of the Week. This year, I guess we could say it's this year because it is the first
2026.
Week. But this week's Player of the Game is Adrian Bugera, also known as Bugs, number 92 from the Lloydminster Bandits. He's a forward, comes in at 5'11", 160 pounds, dripping wet, but he plays like he's a 215, 6'4" forward. Coming out of Lloydminster, he's having another stellar season. He's been on the Bandits here now for 2. I believe he got 64 points last year, and he's on track, to hit that 50-point mark if things keep going the way they're going. He's sitting at about 34 points right now. He's only missed the score sheet on 7 of the 25 games, so
awesome.
Great contributor to that team.
Yeah, just before when I interviewed Coach Josh about him, he had 10 goals in 10 straight games. So it's phenomenal. His production's been very consistent. He had a phenomenal game prior to the break against Wainwright. Coach says he's just an all-around team-focused guy. He helps everybody around him win. And he's also does a lot of volunteering at community events in Lloydminster.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. That makes it helps out create that all-around hockey player, not even on the ice but off the ice, and giving back to the community that's supporting him going through his I guess we'll call it the junior career of hockey.
Yeah, he's got a bright future ahead of him. We want to congratulate you, Bugs, Adrian Bugera. I hope you have great success in the rest of the season. We wish you all the best.
Okay, we're going to wrap up the Player of the Week here, talking about Adrian Bugera. We're talking about him. Coach Josh is also talking about him. He's got some friendly words to kind of finish off the Player of the Game or Player of the Week for you here.
Let's roll it. Our player of the week is going to be Adrian Bagheera, Bugs. Just talk to us about what Bugs contribute, how he contributes to the team, and how he's been contributing and how he's playing this year so far.
Yeah, second year for Bugs. He's doing really well for us. He's leading us in points. We lean on him pretty heavy on the power play. Guy that loves to shoot. So you can definitely see if he's ever having a couple of games where he hasn't put that puck in the net. You can see it on his face. So it's been good. It's been going into your second year, taking on what hard to believe a second year guy is a little more veteran on our squad this year. But it's good to kind of see him take a little more leadership role in that room too.
All right, let's take a quick lap, and it's going to be quick. Not too many games after the break here. I think we got 2 to deal with here, Chet. But
yeah, we know we missed a week for the break. We missed a week of action, but everybody's been online. Everybody's checked the points and the standings. So we're going to go with this quiet week. But there's still a couple of results worth mentioning.
No, for sure. And once we get in there, we'll talk about where we're sitting with the standings and how important these next couple games for each team. I think the Ice are down to their last 6. Most teams are in that 6 or 7 range, but we'll look at the standings there and see where people are sitting.
Okay, well, let's get started. Dwayne's going to have the first game of the breakdown. We love this segment, so let's get into it.
The new year, January 3rd, 7:30. We had a St. Paul Canadians travel south down to the Killam Wheat Kings Memorial Arena there. Saw the first period come out and pretty even. But St. Paul started the scoring there with Jacob Leroux. He actually raked quick in the period there. I'm sure I probably butchered that, but
I think it was great.
We'll get his real name probably. And then another contender for a consistent player coming from Killam, that Jordan Gagne pocketed his 19th, making it a 1-1 game after the first. And then we had St. Paul jump out to a 3-2 lead before making it a 4-2 before the end of the second. Where in the third, a guy that we normally talk about, Quentin Spock, pocketed his 21st of the season unassisted, making it a 5-2 game. But then one of our favorite mug shots of the year, Tanner Sheets.
Yay, Tanner!
Thanks, Tanner.
Great to see you.
Pocketed his 10th, making it a 5-3 game with Drew Patois.
If it's Albertan, it might be Patoit.
Yeah,
but,
Patoit. But he made it a little Patoit with getting the fourth goal for the Killam Wheat Kings. And then close to the end, an empty netter there. It looks like Killam tried to pull the goalie there, and Caden Morrison pocketed his 8th for the Canadians, making it a 6-4 final. Pretty fair game. Not much action as of penalties and stuff like that. Both goalies, faced quite a bit of rubber. 34 on Ethan Edwards, and then Boston Carter with 36 saves. So good job on the 2 goalies for that, and then everyone else for making it, a close game. Those 2 teams, Chet, we'll talk about here after the next game, but you look at the bottom 3 teams, the Ice, the Canadians, and the Wheat Kings. They're within striking distance. These games coming down the stretch are going to matter, but we'll talk about that after the last game of the week here.
Well, just to wrap up the easiest around the league segment ever so far, it'll be changing this coming weekend for sure. Wainwright Bisons also got to go to Killam, and whoa, barn burner. Also has significant impacts on playoff positioning. Has the 5-4 result, the shootout, also impacts the top 3 points in the top people that are battling for the buys. So just looking at the scoring summary, Killam jumps out. Dylan Kruchin, Zach Nelson responds, and then Tanner Warenka gets on the board again. And just, we got a 2-1 for the Bisons, and things are close, but they're looking pretty good. Brady Parcoma in the second period starts things off just a few minutes in. And then Jordan Gagnon. So, hey, we've got a game. We're all tied up.
Back and forth action.
Back and forth action. Wainwright takes the lead. Killam takes the lead. Third period, that's some high drama there. If you guys ever take a look at this score line, we get Jesse, number 97, Jesse Tkach.
Yeah.
Scores for Wainwright. Grady Priest scores for Wainwright. And then 6 seconds left in the game. Am I reading this correctly?
Yeah, 6 seconds left. Ethan Allen
Attaboy.
gets his 16th.
Yeah, ties it up.
6 seconds left.
And then we go into the shootout. We're back and forth. Riker, Singer, and Dylan, they both pot him. And then we have a couple rounds of nothing. Thank you, Tanner, for taking that so we can see your mugshot again. And then Ethan Allen.
You almost can call him the man of the hour.
Yeah,
right.
And he definitely got the first star. Second star was Dylan Kruchin, and then Drew Petoit. Yeah, thank you, and also the Killam folks.
Yes,
big thank you for putting in the 3 stars. As we know. It's catching on. It's catching on.
It's given us a little more content, and it allows us to talk about those players that are making a difference in those games. And the first star is well deserving by Ethan Allen. 6 seconds left. In a tight game where Wainwright just pocketed 2 to take the lead, and then gets the shootout winner.
Shootout, what a way to go!
So good job, Ethan Allen.
Yeah, so I'm excited for what's going to happen this weekend. I know the Cold Lake Ice are going to be heading down to Lloyd into the gorgeous barn, bringing their sunscreen, and we got all sorts of games that could have implications on standings here.
Well, for sure, you're looking at the ones that can make the difference this weekend. The Canadians got 2 games. If they take both games, and the Ice happen to drop theirs, Canadians take over 4th. The Wheat Kings as well. They've only got 1 game this weekend, but it's against the Ice. They've had some spirited games. I think they're 1-1 kind of in the barn here. Killen's taken 1, Cold Lake's taken 1 in Cold Lake, and that's where this game's going to happen. But looking at the bottom 3 and the top 3, you're looking at the Bandits, Tigers, and Bisons, 1, 2, 3 there within 2 points of each other. Chet.
Yeah, you got to be happy in a league where that your top 3 are battling every week. Every game is important in the last few here. And then the 3 that are really battling for position and maybe playing spoiler with each other, they're tightly packed too. So it's going to make for kind of two different storylines here.
Yeah, this weekend's going to be a lot of scoreboard watching by the other teams, and you're going to come with the teams that are trying to play spoiler. They're going to come with a little more heat, and you look at some of the past games where the Bisons dropped one. To the Wheat Kings, and then the Canadians go in and play spoiler for the Ice in 2 games, and it's right now it's who is going to gel in the last 6-7 games.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. So let's wrap it up and head to our outro.
You betcha.
Well, we got it done. That's episode 13.
Yeah, new year is underway, and the stretch run has finally begun. It's going to be a spicy, I'm going to say, because that's what it's going to break down to here.
Yeah, there's going to be no freebies from here on out.
No, every point, every game, every shift matters.
Thanks, everybody, for coming back after the holidays, after we had a much needed rest.
Yeah, thank you for the support. It genuinely means a lot. It keeps us rolling here and coming back every week to keep hopefully making you guys giggle a little bit and, get some names of these players out to you.
Yeah, and so on behalf of Dwayne and myself,
Happy New Year. And now you have the breakdown.